only a couple different ways to go after accounts. And today I'm going to prove to you that that is just not so. So we're going to look at a bunch of different accounts on a credit report that need to remove, including student loans, collections, and charge-offs, all right? And specifically what you should be looking at and why you're looking at it and why it works, okay? So let's start with the first one, and this is navient, which is a student loan, and they are notorious for doing one thing, and I'm going to point it out right now. Let me see if I could spotlight this. Let's see how spotlight works. All right, so if you look right here, let me just scroll down a little bit. Let's do this. Okay, we're going to scroll down a little bit. I'm going to spotlight what I'm talking about just so you can see where. Okay, down here in the payment history, we have October 2020, 90 days late. But look at September. Okay. Look at August. Okay. So how is it? Tell me, answer this for me. Post it down in the comments and tell me what you think. How is it that we can be okay for July, August, and September, and then all of a sudden be 90 days late? Dude, that is not possible, okay? And this is the way that I not only remove the entire account, but remove the late payments. And you'll see this if you take my mini course on how to remove and update student loan accounts, all right? And I might post that down in the description, but otherwise, this is really straightforward. You cannot have 90 days late right after being on time for 3 months. You know what that means? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you what it means, and then I'm going to tell you why. It means that July, August, and September are, well, actually, August and September would be 30 days, 60 days, and then 90 days late in October if this were reported correctly. But they report it this way because they don't report you as late until you're 90 days late. Now, I don't care about that. I don't care about that, all right? I don't care that they wait to report you as late, like they're doing you a solid or something, okay? I don't care about that. The FCRA states specifically how an account should report and how this should be handled. And guess what? It should start at 30 days late, then 60, then 90. And even if it doesn't say that, this means August and September are reported inaccurately. So you can use this to remove this account entirely. So what you would do is you would say that this account needs to be removed because August and September 2020 are reported inaccurately, and that October cannot report as just 90 days late without prior late payments, all right? Now, furthermore, you can go way into the other parts of this payment history. Look, we have 120, 180, 180, 150. This is all over the place, all right? Choose a date, dispute it, and you'll get it removed. Now, let's look at the other parts of this account. Okay, so we have monthly payment. That's fine. We have open date. I don't really care about that. We have balance, pretty much the same. Yep, so number of months. So you don't have a lot to work with on this account except for the late payment history. And I promise you, if you use this and you use it correctly and you use it consistently with student loans, and you can get these removed. And guess what? This client has a ton of them. They have a ton of them, all right? So this is the way that you get these removed. I do it all the time. I've been doing it for 10 years and this works, okay? This is called factual based disputes. Now here we go with another account. This is not a student loan. This is a credit union. This is an installment secured loan, and we have late payments that are just all over the place. Look, December 2016, we have TransUnion reports okay. We have Experian and Equifax that report 30 days late. Then we have in January, 60 days late, but also okay for TransUnion. And then the rest of the payment history also doesn't make any sense. But prior to that, it's all on time. So there's a couple of things that we can do here. Now, because there are multiple late payments, I probably wouldn't go after this account to get it updated, but you can try, all right? Now, here's another thing that you want to look at. Over here, we have payment status, 30 days late, but check out the balance. We have a zero balance across the board. So how can I be late by 30 days with a balance of zero? That is not possible. That's not possible, okay? So what you can do is you can first go after the late payments to try to get them updated, but you're not going to update this payment status without first going after the whole balance trifecta thing here, okay? So first of all, dispute the whole late 30 days zero balance issue. Then go after these late payments and get them removed in groups of two. So go after December, and then January, and then February and March, and then May and June, and then end with these three here. Now, the problem is that this account ends in late payments. There are no further payment, updated payments on here, but it's missing because the balance is zero. This client did pay this account at some point. So that means that we are missing some payment history right here. And it says date of last payment was 9/20/2017. However, where do you see that? Where do you see that on here? Do you see 9/20/2017 as having been paid? I don't. So what's the real deal behind this account? I don't know. And look at Equifax. Equifax says 5/1/2017, yet that's versus 9/1/2017. So there's a lot of stuff on this account that you can work with to get this account updated. And if this is just a thing of like, hey, I don't want to update it, I want to remove it, then what you're going to want to do is go after this payment history here, mention that these are all over the place. You can use it as an image if you want to, but I would probably just state the dates. Remove this account for inaccuracy because the payment history shows blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then now let's go find another account. So I hope that this is making sense. Let's go see if we can find a charge off. I know that I saw one. Okay. So let's look at this one. So we have a Verizon account. Verizon is extremely difficult. And let's just pause right there just for a second. We are using factual based disputes for the credit sweep process to remove these from the credit report. Okay, we are not using regular credit repair. We are not using templates. We are not stating a bunch of laws. We are taking the information directly off the credit report, and that is why I'm showing you this stuff, all right? So let's continue. Verizon. Verizon is very difficult and must be disputed a specific way. All right, so we don't have any payment history. Look down here. There's literally nothing in the payment history, and you are going to find that a lot with Verizon. All right, so let's first look at date last active. We have 7/2015 and 10/2014. Dude, we're dealing with 2 different years and 2 different months. That is not possible. So what this means is that this account is naturally going to come off at 2 different times. One that is 7 years after the 10/2014, and the other 7.5 years after 7/2015. All right. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do here. Look at the payment status. We have collection charge off, and we have late 120 days. How does that make sense? It does not make sense. All right. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is go after the date last active. Then if that doesn't work, even though we're dealing with the same dates, you're going to go after date last payment. All right. Now, another thing is that this account was disputed and yet does not have a notice of dispute, which is required pursuant to section 623 within 30 days of the date that they received the first dispute. You can use that to get the account removed. All right. So there's so many things on this account right here. Look, paid derogatory. How can it be literally 2 totally different things? It doesn't make any sense. Use this to your advantage, all right? So let's go and look at another type of account. Here we go with Kohl's Capital One. As you can see, there's only one thing in the payment history, and that is charge off. All right. Now, some of these companies will only do what's called derogatory reporting, where they only report you as report on your credit report, when you have a negative status with them, like when you don't pay a utility bill. Other companies do life reporting of the account, where they consistently report. However, if you are supposed to be reporting the life of the account, then why am I only seeing charge off without any other payment history? Why is it that only Equifax is reporting a payment history? That doesn't make any sense. So we can go after missing information, but your biggest thing right here is going to be date last active. Why does a date last active have such an impact? If you know the answer to this question, post it down in the comments. Please, somebody, please answer this question. Do you know why date last active works? Do you know why this is at the top of the impact? Why is it the top of the pyramid method? Why is it the top of the dispute funnel? Well, I'm going to answer this for you if you don't know. Again, I already told you this is the date that stipulates when the account will naturally fall off the credit report. So if it is the wrong date, if it's been re-aged, it's going to add additional time to the credit report. Would you rather wait 7 years as you're supposed to, unless you obviously remove it before it's supposed to come off, or would you rather wait 14 years? If you don't realize that we're dealing with 2 times the amount of time. If it's 14 years, if it is illegally re-aged, then unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about a little bit of math, all right? But using common sense, you would understand right off the bat that you would rather have it come off in less time than more time, right? So that is why this is so important. So look at this. We have 4, 18, 2017, 11, 1, 2017, 8, 1, 2017. And date last payment, we have 7, 31, 2017, 7, 31, 2017, and 8, 1, 2017. Furthermore, let's go and look for the notice of dispute. No notice of dispute. No notice of dispute. No notice of dispute. So this stuff right here at the bottom is so freaking important because it's going to remove the account the fastest. And the fastest legal deletions are what we're looking for. Okay, so let's go and check out the high balance. Right here where it says high credit, we have 400, 0, and 291. I don't really care about the 0 because the 0 is kind of like non-reporting, but what I do care is that we have 2 totally different numbers, 400 and 291. All right. So how is this possible? It is not possible. This is inaccurate. The account has to be removed. And now let's go find something else. All right. So if you're wondering how you would use these as a dispute reason, you would very simply state that this account needs to be removed because the date last active is reported as such. The date last paid is reported as such. The required notice of dispute was supposed to be there within 30 days. It was not entered, and it needs to be removed pursuant to Section 623. So on and so forth. Well, what about the charge off down here for Equifax? Why is that not on here? I mean, there's so much to use on here that like I could literally go on for like hours, and we're not going to do that. So Target. Let's look at wonderful old Target. So let me get the spotlight again, and let's go down here, and we're pretty much looking at the same thing. Let's pull this down just a little bit. So in the payment history, we don't really have much to deal with. It's again reported as okay on Equifax, and you already know that that's inaccurate because it is not reported as okay. All right, this is derogatory, and it's also part of the wage earner plan for a bankruptcy. Okay, so right off the bat, look at the comments. We don't have the notice of dispute. Right off the bat, look at the date last active, 4, 2017, 12, 2017, and 8, 2017. Same year, 3 different months. Date last paid, 7, 17, nothing, and 8, 1, 2017. This should remove the account right here. Look at date last reported. Why does date last reported matter? If you know the answer to this, post it down in the comments. The date reported, the status update date, the status date, the status reported date. This is all the same type of date, and what it means is when the bureaus verified this account as, verified it as accurate, right? So you didn't touch this account since 2017, yet you told me this account was verified as accurate, which means that you did not do any investigation, and therefore this account needs to be removed. In addition to the fact that you didn't update this date, you didn't enter the required notice of dispute into the comment section, which means that this account needs to be removed. Furthermore, the date last payment is not on here, and you are not reporting any payment history. All right, so remove this freaking account now. Okay, so let's go and look at a couple of other things. And we are moving quickly through this because there's a lot of information and I don't want to be explaining this stuff all day. Now, this is pretty much the same thing. Now, I do have a video specifically on how to handle accounts that are only reported on one bureau. This is where understanding how an account should and should not be reported comes into play, because otherwise it's really just a thing of comparing bureaus, and that's just not enough. That's not going to get you the results that you need. That's not going to get you the credit score that you need, all right? So to remove the account, we need to understand that this account should have a date last paid. We should also understand that this account was disputed and they did not enter the required notice of dispute. We should also understand that this account was disputed and they verified it as accurate and yet did not update the date last reported, which means that they did not do an investigation. All right, and where is the payment history? Where's the payment history? It's not there. All right, so this account needs to be removed for multiple reasons. And no, we are not going and putting all these reasons in the same account on the same letter. We are spacing them out because we don't want to put all of our ducks in one basket, or all of our eggs. I don't care what you put in the basket, but it's not going to be all your dispute reasons. Now, this basically follows the same structure, that we don't have payment history, we don't have a date last paid, they verified it and didn't update it, a bunch of stuff. All right. So now we are going to go down. Here's a great one for you. Portfolio Recovery. It's your favorite company, right? So they are a debt collector. And because Equifax reports the account number differently than the other two bureaus, they separate it. So we have Capit and then the account number. So because they're not reported next to each other, obviously I'm not going to be able to show you that, but this is really, really simple. There are certain things that shouldn't report. Like, we shouldn't have a payment history here. This client did not pay this. So there's obviously a balance. This account was disputed and was updated after it was quote unquote verified as accurate. It is not late 120 days. You could use that to get it off. And the date last active was not 7/1/17. Now, that just reminded me, a lot of people get this messed up. So the way that all right, I had to pause my recording and back up for a second, but a lot of people get this whole open date thing misconstrued. This open date is not the actual date that this account was open. So you cannot use this to get the account removed. This is the date that the collection agency acquired the account, or the debt buyer acquired the account when it was purchased. Okay, so let's go and find another account. So this one is okay. This one is okay. This one is a collection, and we are very, very simply going to do a couple of things on this one. This is also a single reporting. So let's go look at the payment history. So payment history, and this is a beautiful, beautiful thing that we can use. There's only about like 2 more minutes left to this video. Here we go. Payment history. Look at these beauties down here. Choose a date, dispute it, go back to the oldest date that you see, July 2019, and say, I was not late. Am I telling you to lie? No, honey, no, I'm not telling you to lie. But what I am telling you to do is put the burden of proof on the bureaus. That is your job. All right. Put the burden on them, and it is their job to determine whether it's accurate or not. All right. So don't have them make things be your job, where they say, hey, reach out to the creditor and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So now take a look at this. Charge off. Dude, there should only be one charge off. Okay. It should not be reported twice on there. All right. Now, this account was disputed recently. It was not updated. It was verified. And this is not the correct date last active. You can reach directly out to that, the furnisher, whoever they are, get the actual date last active, and you can prove to the bureaus that they are incorrect and tell them to remove the account. Don't give them the option to just update it. Okay. Now let's go and quickly find another one. This account is okay. This account is okay. This account is okay. And this account is okay. This account is okay. And this account is okay. So I believe there's another one down here. Here's the other portfolio recovery. And this is perfect. This is beautiful. We have a violation. 12/1/2017. This account was re-aged to 8/24/2021. The older date, 9 times out of 10, is going to be the date that is correct. And even if it's not correct, we're going to say that it's correct, because this account was re-aged. Re-age is where they add additional time to it. So this means, going back to the whole purpose of using date last active, that this account is going to fall off a couple of years after, technically, 4 years after it comes off on Experian. Why would you want to allow them to do that? You cannot, okay? And as you can see, they actually used the date that they verified it as the date that the date last active. Okay, so this is a major, major, major violation, and you need to go after it. All right. So there's so many things that you can look for on a credit report to get it removed. And it really just comes down to understanding how an account should be reported. Here's another one. IC Systems, very simply, use the validation of debt and reach out directly to them. NW Financial, for Heartland Clinics, same thing, validation of debt. NW Financial, validation of debt, same thing for this. And this client actually has quite a few collections on here. They also obviously have the bankruptcy. So there is so much that you can use to get these accounts removed. Every single account on here, including their bankruptcy, can come off. And it just comes down to, again, understanding how an account should and should not be reported, okay? So I have 500 videos that show you how to dispute the right way using factual-based disputes for credit sweeps to get anything off a credit report: collections, foreclosures, repossessions, charge-offs, late payments, bankruptcies, judgments, tax liens, you name it, it can come off as long as it's not child support. That is the one thing that I do not dispute. And if you want it done for you, then use the link at the top of your screen and schedule a call with me, okay? Because you know what? Maybe you don't want to do this yourself, and that's totally fine. I will help you if I can. As far as having some additional help, well, guess what? I also have an app that does everything for you, and it is called Live Letter Automation Tool, and you can use the link down in the description. And this is actually the end of my launch, and I even have an awesome guarantee that you are never going to see again. So go check those out. The links are at the top of the screen. I have some other links down in the description for you, but I'm here to answer any questions. If you haven't, post them down in the comments, and I will see you later. But please remember, use all of your available tools and options to remove your accounts before going to the CFPB, because guess what? If you don't exhaust your remedies before going to them, they are not going to take you seriously, and you are not going to get anything to come from your complaints. All right. So that's the end of this today. We went over the specific things that you can look for to remove all different types of accounts, including charge-offs, student loans, late payments, and some other stuff. All right. So if you found value in this video, and I do apologize that my computer is going off, but with the whole bling blings, but if you found value in this video, then make sure to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you later. Bye.